YouTube, hello, Natalie here with another BTS. This one's going to be a quick one. It was a BTS I was not planning to make, but the lighting setup for this ended up being so deceivingly simple that I had to share it. So I'm going to talk you through the lights, the gizmos and gadgets, the backdrop. I just knocked my whole setup over. The camera settings, I'm going to turn that light off because that light was not used for this, but we're going to talk you through the little details to see if you can replicate this for yourself at home. So let's cue that intro. Just kidding, I don't have an intro. There they are, our three lights on three little twisty, and of course I forgot to mention the actual angles of the lights and the structure of the light. So I've got one main light, you could call it the main light because it's lighting from the front of the subject at a kind of like anterior superior angle to create the main light for the microphone and to create that separation between the microphone and the background. And to further accentuate or to help with that separation, I've got two lights at the back of the microphone at kind of a superior posterolateral type of angle, and that really will help light the rims of the object or the microphone to really make it pop from the background. I've got them on a very affordable light stand, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend. I would recommend that you go straight for a C stand if you want to take this stuff seriously. They're a better long-term investment. I've got this crossbar going over it over there to hang these clamps off of, on which my three little pocket lights are screwed onto. What's really cool about these is that you can bend them over to get them twisting or bending in a 90 or more degree angle, and then you've got the fact that these lights are screwed in here so you can twist them as well to get a better angle of light on your product. I ended up investing in a product photography, product videography, little product spinner. So far so good, no complaints about that. And as you can see, I have this entire setup at a fair distance away from the black backdrop, and I've stopped any spill of light from this lower surface over here with this black edge of a reflector. The reason that I want the backdrop quite far away from the product is because I'm not going to mask this out. It's going to be a clean black background anyway, but the further away that I have the backdrop from the light sources, the less of a light spill I'll get on the backdrop, so it stays nice and black, so that the only thing I'll need to mask out at the end is this bottom piece over here. And because it's elevated off of the spinner, it'll be very easy to get those edges and just mask it out with one static mask instead of having to mask out the entire thing frame by frame. This was just the easiest way because this is going to be spinning, which means masking it, whether I do it automatically with a rotor brush or manually, it's still going to be quite an effort. So I didn't want individual frame masking for this particular piece. For this particular set of clips, I've got each wheel light set to 100% intensity at 4000 Kelvin. I also have the camera set to 4000 Kelvin, but I thought it would be useful to have it set to a warmer temperature just in case something goes off with the color balance. It'll be more on the warm side because this is a wooden product, or it's plastic but it's meant to be wood-like. So let's turn this light off to take a look at what the whole thing looks like. And this is what it looks like from within the camera. As you can see, it's slightly top heavy, which is okay because as this rotates, when it spins, it reveals a nice orange C at the top where that mic component is. So I'm pretty happy with that being pretty top light heavy to reveal that C. I prefer an image that is slightly underexposed more than anything so that you can prevent those distracting little hot spots. You can see little hot spots there which aren't actually hot spots because they're not overexposed by any means. And because it's going to be a completely black background, I think it's okay to have a nice seemingly underexposed image, especially when the microphone spins to reveal the bright lights, the RGB lights that are built into it. Camera settings, I'm shooting Vlog. I've got a Rec 709 LUT placed over it so I can just see what it looks like. This is it, Vlog, and then I've got the LUT placed over it. I've got a hotkey set here on my camera. I believe I'm shooting 4K 10-bit 420? Yeah. 50 frames per second. For that particular setting, I'm shooting with the APS-C sensor, sticking to the base ISO 640, aperture of 4.5. I didn't want to go wider than 4.5 because I didn't want to lose too much focus on various elements of the microphone as it spins. I feel like I'm forgetting something important. Shutter speed, 180 degrees shutter speed. And my white balance, of course, is set to the white balance of the lights, which is 4,000 Kelvin right now. And let's turn this light on so you can see that I'm shooting in vertical mode. The reason I'm doing that is because this microphone within this shot is only going to be rotating in a static position. It's going to be rotating, and any editing that I want to do where it involves any like tilting and turning and zooming in and zooming out will happen in post. So that's going to happen in a 4K sequence, and I want to get as much of this within a 4K frame. So shooting it vertical and then placing it into a horizontal sequence, in my opinion, I think will work best with regard to maintaining a good quality when you're zooming in and zooming out in post. And let's turn this on. There you go. And I'm going to turn this to its slowest setting. This is now turned to its slowest setting, and when shooting this at 50 frames per second is going to result in some pretty decent slow moving rotations. And that's it for today, folks. Short, sweet, and hopefully somewhat motivating, to the point that you can see that a very simple setup can get you some awesome results if you understand your light and your equipment. Let's leave it at that. Thanks so much for taking the time to be here, folks. I do appreciate it. Don't forget to keep taking photos, keep making videos, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next video.